But then she converted. Look at
Yes.
her.
She got rid of
But,
her
and this was
Chromebooks.
exactly why I didn't want to go Apple, because they were going to own me. And guess what?
Now they own you. And once you go, it's hard
there
to
it is.
switch.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is probably
They make it like that. On
somewhat,
purpose.
I don't know. I came up with a saying, once you go Mac, you can't go back. And I said, Apple, you're welcome.
Very true.
Anyways.
All right, let's stop shopping on Banana Republic.
Yes. So good day, everybody. We have a new person here.
Hi.
He's not new.
No.
He's new on
New to you.
Wine Wednesdays.
Some of you, anyway.
And so this is
Yeah,
Corey Leetwell.
not to your people.
People are like, I don't know Corey.
Uh-huh.
So Corey is one of our agents here at 43 Homes. He's been with us for over 2 years now.
Yeah, almost 4.
Oh my gosh! Well, time flies when we're having fun. Look at that. So we are taking our Wine Wednesday, as we've talked in the past couple weeks, a little bit of a different direction, kind of this more informal conversation point. And so Corey's going to join us today, and we're going to talk about some fun things about how to maybe make some money in real estate. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I think
Without being an agent.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, without being.
You don't have to be an agent.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. A lot of people watch so much TV now, and I see in Facebook groups all the time. Hey, I want to flip a house. And everyone thinks I think it's really super easy.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And it's not something I have any interest in, because I think I know how hard it can be. So, I don't have the creative side for it either. I can't see the end result. So I think for me that would be really difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you condense a show, a process that can take months,
Right.
down into a 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
Sure, it's going to look easy, right?
Yeah.
They're going to edit
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff.
Well,
They do like to maybe manufacture some drama for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure,
I was just gonna
sure.
say, they
Like
definitely
that
do
Las Vegas one. Do you ever watch that
Oh,
with
yeah.
the husband and wife in Las Vegas?
Yeah. Flipping Vegas is
Is
a
that
fun
what it
show.
is?
Yeah, it's a fun show to watch for a little bit. But, like Amy, the wife, her
Yeah.
voice, like, Scott! And I'm like, okay, we need to change the channel. I can do like
Channel.
1 or 2 episodes of that, and
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can't do it anymore.
So we're going to lead this into, there are several different ways that you can make money in real
Yes.
estate. So
Yeah.
Corey we use the term investor, and he kind of said, well, I don't look at myself as an investor
Right.
So much as, what would you call yourself?
So I have a real estate business aside from my realtor business. I flip houses, and so really it's just like any other business that buys and sells widgets. My widget just happens to be real estate. So to me, I don't consider someone to be an investor in real estate unless they actually make regular income from it. So that means owning rental real estate.
I found that interesting.
Yeah.
That you think that.
Yeah.
I still look at it as an investor, but I see the point.
I do
see-
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me too.
Right, and
I
that's
see
the
both
way.
sides of that.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter all that much.
No,
what
but I
label
get
you
it.
put
Some
on
I
it.
names.
think it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, but I think it comes down really to what you want. You
Right.
know, if you're looking for quick cash, if you're looking for a project, if you're looking for something like that, then flipping makes a lot of sense because you go in, you buy the house, you do whatever updates need to be done to it, and then you're out. You know, you list it, you sell it, you take your money, hopefully, if you've done it right, and then that's it. You know.
So one of the things that I think people maybe have misconceptions on, in general, how much profit would you say you make on a home?
Or what is the goal? Then?
Yeah, goal versus maybe something.
And then what is reality?
Right. So there's a saying, and I know there are people who don't like this saying, but they say you make your money when you buy. So you have to be able to analyze, like going forward. And as agents, this is easy for us, but figuring out the after repair value. What is the house? Excuse me. What's the house going to be worth after you've done all of these repairs and you put it on the market? And then you work backwards from there. So then you have to estimate, well, what are the updates that I'm going to do going to cost? And then you kind of subtract what's it going to cost me to hold the house? You know, what am I going to pay in taxes and utilities and insurance and those sorts of costs that are fixed regardless of how long it takes. Well, no, they're fixed monthly costs rather. And then you figure out what you want to make. And then that becomes kind of how you go forth with your offer.
Okay.
So I have made, when I got started, I made, I want to say it was $7,000 to $10,000 on the flip. Now, when it's a flip, it's ordinary income as far as the government is concerned, so you're going to be taxed pretty highly on that. Wow. I have done as well as almost $40,000 on a flip. So it depends. You know, that one, the house was in really bad shape. It was. I talked with these folks after I didn't meet them online. I met them via a letter I sent out, and I said, "Hey, I'd be interested in buying your house." I met them at the house, and he kind of goes, "Okay, you ready for this?" Before we walked in, I said,
"It's always a good prep for walking in."
No problem. I've not seen anything that's gonna, you know, I've seen enough things. This isn't gonna surprise me. He goes, "It smells pretty bad." I said, "I've smelled stuff that's pretty." And then I had to like really keep my poker face because when we walked in, it was like, "Oh yeah, punch me right in the nose." So it was a really, really smelly place, and he had multiple pets and had dementia, the guy who owned the house, and so he didn't remember that he needed to let the pets out, and so it was really unfortunate. And but the house had gotten into such a state of disrepair that when I did all of the analysis of all the work that I needed to do, I said, "Listen, I can offer you about $16,000 for this house."
Really?
I said, "I know that's like, there are cars you can't buy for $16,000, but that's what I can do." And they said, "All right, well, we can't sell it any other way." You know, so they took the deal. And they were happy to have a problem off of their hands. And I think that's how you have to look at it when you're looking at investing, whether you're looking at doing a flip, you're looking at buying a rental. You know, if you're buying something at a discount, you're only buying it at a discount because you're buying a problem. Right. You know, so you're buying, in my case, I was buying, you know, a huge problem. These people didn't have the time or the energy or the willingness to put in the work to do what needed to be done to get the place up to speed. If you're looking at rental, you may be buying from a landlord who's just like, "I am so tired of tenants and toilets," and if you're willing to put in the work to implement new processes and new rules and train the tenants that this is how things go from now on, then you know you can get a deal. So that's the way I like to look at it. Is, you know, I'm not, people go, "Oh, you bought a house for $16,000? That's like steal." It's not. Not really. Because they were happy. They were happy to have it go away. Yeah, and you're not like hoodwinking them. Right. No, you're not stealing it. You told them.
Well, and Jeni uses the phrase all the time: time, mood, and circumstance, right? Right. And it depends upon all those three things. And while that would work for that person, maybe it doesn't work for the other. And I've seen,
maybe a week prior it wouldn't have gone.
I've had clients who, even in this market where it's kind of hard to get a deal, make lowball offers. And I'm like, this is never going to work. And then I'm like, it did.
Who would have thought?
You know, and I have one client in particular who is an investor. They buy for income properties, and we were writing lots of offers, and I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I think I need to fire these people because I don't know that they're serious. They don't understand the market. But you write a lot of offers in those situations with the hope they accept one, right? You know? And and so I think that, like you said, that people go into this and you make your money when you buy. Yeah. I think that is a huge mistake that a lot of new investors make because they want one so badly, you know, because they've seen the TV shows and what people make on those TV shows, and just think that I'll make it work, you know, like I make money on the flip in this way and that way. Yes. And not even put into the thought that there's probably a contingency for the unknowns that you come upon during the course of that process.
Well, and that's where I think the TV versus reality too, because you know, in this area, I mean, do people make hundreds of thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars on a flip? I mean, it sounds, in my experience in talking to people, it is about 20 grand usually. That is great money.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, there's a lot of output initially for not a whole lot necessarily what people think they're going to be getting.
Right. And you have to factor in your time, and that's another thing. If you're looking at a flip, are you going to do the work yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you going to hire somebody out to do the work for you? Because if you're looking at an hourly rate, you know, I've told people, they go, do you do the work yourself? And I go, well, I've done 6 and I did it myself the first time. And I realized I can't
never
do that
again.
You did that too, though.
Well, you know, every time I've done it, I've always said, yeah, I'll never again. And then what do? I'm in there, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
You stopped in the one, and I was knee deep in pulling up linoleum flooring, which was way more than I thought it was ever going to be.
Yeah, and that's what all. Yeah, it always is. It's more work than you think. I did the demo on that nasty house that I was talking about, and I got some friends and my brother involved.
Was that the first one that you did?
No, that was number 5.
Okay.
But we filled an entire dumpster full of stuff that we took out. We ripped out carpet. We took out, you know, we demoed a bathroom. We took out a wall, you know, a partial wall.
This just doesn't sound enjoyable to me.
No. And you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, demo is immense fun.
Yeah.
To a point.
Tearing it out.
To a point.
Well, it's like anything, right? Going into any job or any project, you're excited, it's new. And then once you realize, like for instance, that linoleum floor, they had nailed and stapled that stuff down, and I have never had such a physical task in all my life. And I don't know what I thought, but boy, it was a lot more than what I thought.
Yeah.
And then once you get that, you're like, okay, I'm over this. Like, you know, so the newness and the excitement wears off quickly. So I think you have to temper a couple things. You have to understand what your skills are and realistically what your skills are.
Yeah.
And then also what your patience level is, because I think, I mean, I find this requires an immense amount of patience.
Yeah, and then if you're going to hire out the work, I mean, you would need to know several different people, or at least contacts, or have contacts who have contacts, because I would imagine that gets very, very costly.
It can.
Probably eats into the bottom line of it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I pass up deals that I know other people can make money on, where the money doesn't work for me, because I hire a general contractor. And I know that's more expensive than if I were to be the general contractor and to hire a plumber and an electrician and then a drywaller and then a flooring guy. And you know, I don't have all of those people, because my general contractor can do most of it. And if they need I have an HVAC guy, because he's not a licensed plumber or electrician, but they can do general plumbing. You can do general electric. You know, if it's swapping out light fixtures, or it's replacing, a faucet or something like that. Those are easy things to do that don't require a plumber. So I know that I'm paying more than somebody who's willing to do it themselves. But at the end of the day, what I tell people, my job is to make decisions and write checks.
Right.
Now, I've revised it because it makes me sound like I'm loaded. So I borrow money, make decisions, write checks, and repay money.
So that leads into a good, I think, too, because oftentimes people don't move forward with this dream that they may have, because it's like, how in the world do we even fund it? Like, how did you buy your first, and how do you continue if that's not your business?
No, not at all. I work with private lenders, so I've done 6 flips, and in all cases, I have borrowed not only the money that I needed to make the purchase, but also 100% of the rehab cost.
Okay.
Now,
is this what hard money loan?
No.
Okay.
No. So hard money is a company. They do loans. They will usually require you to have some skin in the game. So they'll do up, like a bank would, up to 80% usually. Okay. But they charge really, really high interest rates because they're short-term loans. So you're paying 12, 14, I've even seen 16% on the money. The idea being, you're going to do it as quickly as possible. You're going to be in and out. And hard money is great if it's the only source of money that you can borrow, as long as you use the numbers, factor those numbers in, and you can still make it work.
Okay.
Then go to a hard money lender and get the money that way.
Okay.
So would you recommend that though for your first time?
I wouldn't recommend against it necessarily. Again, it's just if you're doing it for the first time and you have all of these factors involved, I definitely recommend getting the help of somebody who's done it before. Whether that is a friend who's going to just, I'll come over and look, and I'll look over your numbers and I'll do that sort of thing, or whether it's a more formal thing where you say, listen, Wayne, I know you've done a couple flips. Would you kind of walk through it with me, hold my hand along the way, and I'll give you 25% of the deal just for being kind of an integral part of this. Help me make sure I'm doing it correctly, and then when I make money, I'll reimburse you, with a share of the profit.
Because I think that would be really important on the first time, because I think a lot of people go in again with wide eyes, don't understand everything that goes into it. It takes longer, it costs more, and if you're paying more for the money, by the time that's all said and done, you could have eaten through any profit that you would have had with a really high, interest rate, because it took longer or it ended up costing more, all those things. So having that advice seems like it would be invaluable.
Yeah. So my private lenders are people I know. It's a husband and wife who she and I have known each other since high school. But they have money to invest, and I always make sure that the purchase price plus all of the money that I need to put in repairs is no more than 80% of the after repair value that I'm projecting.
Okay.
So I'm not borrowing to get them, into a situation where they could be underwater. I do pay double-digit returns, but they're not hard money rates. And I pay simple interest per annum with a balloon. So I don't make them any payments while I'm doing the work. And then when we have our closing scheduled, then I fill out a form and have them sign it to agree that this is how much interest we have. So I'll take the amount of money that we borrowed times the interest rate, divide that by 365 to figure out what the amount of interest I owe per day is, and then I multiply by the number of days that I'm going to have their money. And when I borrow it, I sign a formal promissory note that I send to them to keep the original copy, and then I fill out a mortgage, and I take that to closing, and then the title company records that mortgage.
Okay.
So when it's time to sell the property, that comes up as a lien on the property, and they're the first ones to get any money when we sell the property.
Oh.
And then the proceeds come to me. So they're protected,
Wow.
which is what a hard money lender would have to do as well. And I like to do videos and photos and stuff of the progress of the house, so they kind of see what's going on.
Sure.
I do it to share just because I have a lot of friends who are interested in what's going on, but they are always people watching it. And then if there's something else that's kind of, I think they ought to see this, I'll take a photo and share, or I'll just send a text update saying, hey, here's where we are. A little behind schedule because we had this issue or whatever. But that's how I have funded my deals. So I have not put, to start at least, any money in my own deals. I have had cases where we've had unexpected surprises.
Sure.
And of course, I go, I hadn't planned on this, and it's actually even more than I put a 10% factor in for the unexpected stuff.
For just in case.
Yeah,
Okay.
and sometimes it's been more than that. So then I have to go and put some of my own money in to the deal, which I think is only fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I don't want anyone to have undue risk if they're going to participate. And my private lenders know that no matter what happens, even if I have to lose money, they're going to make everything back that they need to make.
Yeah.
Because to me, the relationship is the number one thing.
Well, you want them there for the next one.
Right.
Well, I mean,
and you're a good person.
Yes,
I think there's a lot of people who go into
a lot
these
of
things.
shady.
I don't think they necessarily go into it with bad intentions, but when it goes badly, they end up sticking.
I think,
with the
people
other
freak
person.
out when
Yeah,
that
having
stuff
those
starts to
agreements.
happen.
Having those agreements and recorded and it's legit. I think is sage advice, because like you said, I mean, especially if it's a friend and not just a private lender.
Money can get very touchy.
Right.
And there are some lenders who will do rehab loans, but like you said, you're gonna have to have skin in the game, and usually it's a 20% down payment of the after renovation costs and all of that. So if you buy a $80,000 house, you're gonna put $20,000 in it, then you're gonna have to put $20,000 down to get that kind of loan, because most are 20%, especially in this modern era.
There's a very simple kind of back of the napkin formula. It's called the Mayo formula, the maximum allowable offer. That probably would be helpful for people to know if you're flipping. So you take the after repaired value multiplied by 70%, and then you subtract all of the rehab costs, and that is the maximum amount that you can offer. So the 70% comes out because the thinking is, of the 30% that you're taking off, 10% of that are going to be your holding costs and your closing costs. So realtor fees, closing, taxes, insurance, all those sorts of things. That's about 10%, and I've seen that to be fairly true to form. Is that, would you say in your experience it's the same too? The other 20, it's assumed that's going to be your profit. Now, depending on the price point of the house, maybe 20% isn't something you need or isn't realistic. Like if you're buying I sold a house, a flip that I did in Reynoldsburg that was $250 or $270. I don't remember actually what it was, but 20% of that, I didn't need to make a $50,000 profit, because I wasn't doing that much work. So I kind of tweaked the formula in that case. But kind of as going in, should I even take the time to run numbers and really analyze this deal? That formula works. 70% of the after repair value minus your repair costs.
All the stuff you don't think about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well, and I have to say, when I've done this a few times myself, and early on, I was very unrealistic with things. I allowed myself to believe I could either get more out of it at the end, or it wouldn't cost me as much as as I run through numbers. I can save money here and do this and that. But I think you have to kind of use the worst case scenario as you're going into this, and don't let yourself be fooled by your own desire. Because that can get you in big trouble. And I've been fortunate; I never lost money yet. We've got one going now. Knock on wood. But it's like you never want to lose money, of course. But there have been certainly times where I didn't make as much as I wanted because this and that.
Right. Well, you mentioned it earlier. I think the desire to find a deal and to get going sometimes gets people to lie to themselves. They start fudging the numbers. Well, and I did this on my actually. I'm like, it really needs a new HVAC. The AC and the furnace they need to go. And then as I started looking at the numbers, I was like, we could have them serviced. I think I'll just have them serviced.
And then I'll offer a warranty.
Right.
And then I went back in the basement after I had made that decision, signed the agreement with my contractor, and I went back. I was like, this is a piece of crap. There is no way that I can convince somebody, it'll be fine because I just did a service. And so I bit the bullet anyway.
And you see this happen from a realtor standpoint too, when you go into flipped homes, with decisions like that are made. I had a buyer that was buying a house down around Amanda, Ohio, and like southeast of here, and the flip itself looked beautiful. The cosmetics were very nice, and then we went down in the basement, and it actually had a boiler. And it looked straight out of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And the buyers looked at it and they're like,
what is that?
What do you do with this? Like, and so of course they fell in love with the house because of the cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understood talking to the inspector, the boiler is okay as long as, you know, it's been kept in good shape and, you know, all the normal stuff. But when the inspection came, they freaked out, like, because he's like, you know, when it comes time to replace this, he said, you know, this is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, this is
And
not
it scared them
That's
away.
the reason for it not being done.
And so when we terminated the contract, the agent said, he goes, well, is there anything we could do to save this? You know, like they'll replace it or whatever. And I said, unfortunately, it's kind of past that. You probably should have done that
Yeah.
before, and then you wouldn't have this issue. And I think it was in a price point where it's going to be common for new buyers and those kinds of things. You know, as an investor, I think you need to think about who's your target.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be a first-time home buyer, it's typically going to be someone in their 20s or 30s who've never seen something like that. So, and then they go in and, like in your instance, see a furnace that looks like, even just a normal furnace that looks like it's rusted out and on its last leg. You could scare buyers away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you sit on the market and you're putting out the taxes and the mortgage.
You're paying for it on the
payments,
backside as a payout to it on the
whereas
front
you've
side.
just gotten it sold.
And then you're still gonna have to pay for it again.
Yeah.
I always like to go into flips, and I'll post them on my Instagram, but just like weird, stupid things that people do that, you know, like the latest one was it was three switches to turn lights on, and instead of getting a 3 switch,
I know
it was 3 different pieces that were cut. Like it might have been a 1 switch, but they cut it to fit it all together.
Because they
Like,
didn't install it properly.
I mean, how much money would that have cost you? It probably cost more to just do the cutting and then the measuring and the.
They probably
and then
didn't
just go
install
buy
it
the
correctly and
3
it didn't fit.
Yeah, so they took 3. Yeah, that could be too. Or like the trim is cut really poorly around something and stuck on the wall.
And I think that goes back to know your skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if your skills
Or know your
don't
contractor's
include
skills.
carpentry, hire a carpenter. You know, because I mean, we see this stuff as realtors all.
Yeah.
And don't think, especially if you're not going to stage it or you're going to leave that house empty, that stuff sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, you know, it really is hard to miss.
Yeah.
And while it seems like such a minor thing,
People
but
see
I think
it.
people see it and then they think, if that's like that, what
Then they
else
start
did they?
questioning everything.
What have I not seen?
Yeah.
Where they cut corners? Yeah.
So-
Another thing that I noticed, I was very fortunate when I did my first flip. I was not an agent yet. I hired a friend of mine to list. And when he did the open house, I was like, "Can I be there? I mean, what should I do?" And he goes, "You can. It's probably not." He goes, "Just say you're, you know, just don't say, you know, hey, I'm the owner." So I was kind of subtly walking around, and you know, I heard people's comments and not stage it. It was a condo, but I made a decision partway through the kitchen remodel to do more. I didn't over-improve the kitchen. You know, it was not a place that needed granite because nothing else in the condo community had granite. But I did take what was an L-shaped kitchen and made it a U-shaped kitchen. So I added a lot more cabinet space, a lot more counter space. And people walked in and they looked at the kitchen. They were like, "Oh, wow!" And what I realized is, the kitchen is the only room in a house where you can come in with groceries and pots and pans and it's ready to be used. You know, there's no other room that you can come in and just use it, you know, unless you want to throw down an airbed in a in a bedroom. Bathroom, I guess, is, but
There's toilet. And the water's on.
yeah.
And a shower curtain.
But you know, I realized that if you have to spend maybe disproportionately in some areas of the house versus the other. Kitchen is the place
Kitchen
where
is the place to put the
where you really put the money in.
That makes sense.
But I think
Again, don't
you made
over-improve.
You made an important point there. With that. Is look at the neighborhood where you're doing this, and whether it's a rental or a flip. You know, even if you're going to rent it out, what do other rentals have?
Yeah.
I mean, are they granite countertops, new cabinets, or did they paint cabinets?
Yeah.
So look at that stuff, and don't build it and do it to your taste, what you want.
Right.
No,
Because
it has to be very general, very
Mhm.
like what's on trend right now,
Yeah.
because you're looking to sell right now.
Yeah. My goal is for every flip that I do to be the nicest one in the neighborhood by
But
that
just
much.
much, yeah.
Just that much.
Yeah.
I want them
Yeah.
to leave mine and go to another one and go, it's nice, but I like the other
Yeah.
one, just a little better. And I've been fortunate that I haven't had anything that has sat on the market too terribly long. The last flip that I did was 27 hours on the market.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's a good one.
Yeah, and I got an offer for $10,000 more than list price.
Very,
Six.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So I think lots of really good advice here.
Yeah.
And if you're considering it, what about the team like that you're building? I mean, not just your contractors and
Mhm.
those kinds of people. What other kinds of people are you including like on your team, like from like start to finish, like a realtor and
Yeah, absolutely. You should have a realtor involved. A realtor obviously can help you find potential properties,
Mhm.
can help you look at comps and determine what the after repaired value is going to be, and also is going to just kind of help you make some of those decisions with regard to what are the neighborhood finishes like and things like that. Having a lender, I think, is important. You need to have money lined up, whether it's a private lender, it's hard money, whether it's conventional loan, whether you're taking money out of a HELOC. There are lots of ways to get access to the money, but you have to have that before you go in.
Who would you suggest would be the best source for, like, if people had questions on the money? Would you go talk to a lender? Would you Google? YouTube?
Facebook, like friends.
Facebook questions?
Yeah,
Just
I've been a member of Central Ohio Real Estate Entrepreneurs, so CORE for short, for about 6 years. And there are tons of people who are investors of all stripes, real, according to my term, actual investors who own property, flippers. There are lots of folks there who are in the lending business as well. There are private money lenders there, people who will lend their own money, and there are hard money lenders there. So in Columbus, that's a great resource. To go to a meeting. The main meeting is the first Tuesday of the month.
okay.
And it's free to come as a guest for your first meeting. That would be a place that I would look. If you're interested in private lending, you'd be shocked at how many people have money that you don't know they have money. They may have money in their 401k. Well, not a 401k necessarily, because it's hard to get the money out and do a self-directed real estate or non-market stock market kind of investment. But if they have an IRA, maybe they're looking at the stock market right now going, hey, it looks really toppy, it could come down any minute, I'd like something more secure.
Right.
And maybe they would be willing to do a loan out of their 401k, or out of their IRA. You never know until you ask.
Right.
And I've never said, hey Wayne, do you have any money that you'd be interested in lending me to do it?
But you could.
But what I did when I was looking for folks was said, hey, I'm starting this business. I've done a flip, and I'm looking for some other folks who have some money that they would be interested in putting into an investment where there is it's pretty secure,
Right.
with a fixed rate of return. And you can't say guaranteed rate of return because there's no guarantee, but I'm going to pay a double-digit rate of return, and I'm going to give them a mortgage on the property to give them some collateral. If you know of anybody that you think might be interested in something like that, I'd love it if you'd make an introduction. Sometimes people will go, tell me more.
Yeah.
So,
The soft ask.
Yeah, a soft ask. So a lender is someone else you need to have on your team. And then I definitely recommend getting a contractor on your team. Even if you end up not using them to do the work, if you can get them to come and help you learn to estimate repair costs.
Well, because as you're saying, the that's part of it. You have to really estimate, you know, what if you go into a home and it's all knob and tube wiring, which there are still in this area. You know, how much is that going to cost? What about asbestos mitigation, or if there's mold, or you know, just simple repairs too, like you're saying. I mean, replacing cabinets or flooring, or
I find even just it's almost like the order of operations, you know, for math or whatever.
Yeah.
There is an order at which this stuff has to kind of happen.
Right.
And if you have never done it before and you're already out buying this and that before you've done the pre-work, you know, then you're kind of going about this in a way that could hurt you as well. So having someone who understands the process. And even if they don't do it, someone that could, you know, even for just some sort of fee, guide you through the first one.
And don't expect your real estate agent to be able to do all that.
No.
I think that there are agents who are experienced and do this, but you know, I wouldn't be able to tell you pricing on repair.
Right. Yes.
It's as much as you want to spend, is what I usually say. I mean, you get like, you want to go cheap, you want to go expensive. I don't know.
Right. Well, I think this is all fantastic information.
Very
and of
much.
course, you could find Corey. His website is Home Sweet Home Columbus, correct?
Yep. HomeSweetHomeColumbus.com.
So you can find Corey there. He's also on our 43 Home site and on all the social media. Well, he's on Facebook, I know.
Yeah. Home Sweet Home Columbus. On Facebook as well.
So if you have questions, I'm sure Corey could probably, you know, give you some general advice and guide you in directions if you'd like, and
He can get you in touch with him.
and you know, and if you need a realtor who understands investments, there you go. So so I think, does that kind of wrap it up, or do we have anything else?
Sure.
All right. Well, you know where to find us all, of course, Jenny and Wayne here, and until then, we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
I don't know. Did I get